Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over the best loadouts for console/controller players in Fortnite Season 4. If you watched my last video about abusing aim assist in Season 4, one of the biggest takeaways from it was how underwhelming the SMGs are right now in Fortnite. The TAC SMG is a pretty garbage weapon as a whole due to how heavily it was nerfed, and even though the suppressed SMG isn't terrible, it's an SMG that isn't super great at barrel stuffing. It isn't horrible by any means, but compared to the regular or rapid fire SMGs from last season, it definitely leaves a lot to be desired. So due to how much of a hit the SMG category took, I'm starting to see a really interesting trend with how players are using the 5 slots of their inventory. Ever since the beginning of Fortnite all the way back like 3 years ago, the meta has always been to use 3 of the 5 slots of your inventory for weapons. In Season 1 through 4, that mainly meant AR, shotgun because double pump and pump tack were so strong, but then when that got patched at the beginning of Season 5, everybody shifted to AR, shotgun, SMG, and that's the way it's pretty much stayed since then. Of course, there will always be some players who go against the grain, and there are some situations where you can survive only using 1 or 2 weapons, but for the majority of the game, pretty much everybody used AR, shotgun, SMG. But what you're seeing now is that more and more players are beginning to use AR, shotgun, and no SMG. I believe that both are very viable options, and throughout this video I'll talk about the positives and negatives of both, as well as what I believe are the best inventory combos for all 5 slots in Season 4. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first loadout option I want to quickly talk about is all reliable AR, shotgun, SMG, and then double healing. This has been my clear favorite inventory setup since pretty much the summer of 2018 when double shotgun was removed. Obviously, your preference on certain weapons definitely plays a factor here, but my exact preferred inventory in this mold would be Scar, Pump, Suppressed SMG, Minis, and then either Bigs or Chug Splashes. The Shotgun SMG combo is effective for obvious reasons, and it has been for the last few years. If you can hit high damage shotgun shots consistently, the SMG is so great for spraying and cleaning up your opponent, plus it serves a really important secondary purpose of spraying and phasing through boxes. The Scar also provides secondary spray ability as well, which is why I personally prefer it slightly over the AUG, but I know that there are a lot of players out there that'll disagree with that, and the AUG is definitely an awesome weapon too, so no complaints if you choose that instead. And then what's great about double healing is that you can take a lot more chip damage in fights without it hurting you in future fights. If you instead go single healing and use your 5th inventory slot for something like a sniper, you'll definitely find yourself in a lot of really tough situations health-wise. Let's say you win a 1v1 fight, but the guy brings you down to 60 health in the process and he doesn't drop any healing. Sure, you can use your minis or 2 to 3 chug splashes, and that'll get you back into like the 100 to 120 health range, but if your next fight's against someone with 150 to 200 health, you're already at a pretty significant disadvantage before a single shot is even fired. So this takes me to another loadout option, which so far is looking like my favorite in Season 4. This definitely could change as I play the game more, so don't write it in stone or anything, but I'm absolutely loving AR, shotgun, double healing, and then a utility or offensive item. Now with this loadout, unlike the last one, you really can't use the AUG. You need to use a fully auto AR. I think the Stark Energy Rifle could possibly work here, but in my opinion, the best option is hands down the regular fully auto ARs and especially the Scar. And just be aware that your AR rarity matters a lot more with this loadout than with the last one. As I'll go into more detail about in a second, if you have a Scar, this is going to work incredibly, but if you have a white or maybe a green AR, probably not so much. The reason why that's so important is because of this simple fact. Right now, I truly believe that the best SMG in the game is the Scar. Historically, SMGs have always been the highest DPS weapons in Fortnite because they fire really fast and do a decent amount of damage per shot, but the obvious downside is that the super high DPS only works at very close range. However, as of right now, the two highest DPS weapons in Fortnite are the purple and gold Scars. Just to throw some numbers out there, the gold Scar does a maximum 198 DPS, the purple Scar is 193, the gold TAC SMG is 189, and the blue suppressed is only 171. And just to give those values a little bit of perspective, the gold P90 from last season did 200 DPS, and then the gold rapid fire SMG did a whopping 245. So I truly feel more confident switching to a Scar to clean up an enemy I damage with my shotgun than I do with any of the SMGs in the game right now. It may be a bit awkward to get used to at first since most people have been shooting and switching to SMGs for the last 2 years, but it's pretty easy to override that muscle memory. And obviously the other major positive of using your Scar as an AR SMG hybrid is that it frees up an inventory spot. You no longer have to choose between double healing or a utility item, you can carry all of those things at the same time. And to be a bit more specific, my single favorite loadout right now, what I would choose if I was playing in a game for $1 million is this. Scar, pump shotgun, minis, big slash chug splashes, and then boogie bombs. For some reason, Fortnite decided that it was a good idea to make the max stack of boogie bombs that you can carry with one inventory slot a whopping 10. And the crazy thing is, they're only blue rarity and pretty common in general, so I've actually gotten very near that max stack multiple times. And odds are if you follow a lot of Fortnite pros on Twitter, you've probably seen at least some complaining about boogie bombs. If you get hit by one, you're totally exposed for 5 seconds, which in Fortnite is pretty much forever. It is definitely overpowered, and I'm guessing something about the drop rate or stack size will be nerfed in the near future, but for now, boogie bombs are my go-to 5th item when I'm not using an SMG. You can just spam 2 to 3 at a guy until you eventually hit him, walk right up to him, and then blast him with a shotgun shot. Another loadout option that I know some people are gonna at least try early in the season is AR shotgun double healing sniper, or even the more traditional AR shotgun SMG single healing sniper. In seasons 2 and 3, I thought that loadout build was actually very viable, mainly because in season 2 you could use the heavy sniper, and that was always one of the more OP weapons in the game before its eventual nerf, and then in season 3 you could use the hunting rifle, which was pretty OP in itself. It had an incredibly fast reload time for a sniper, so you could spam shots pretty easily, it had good overall damage, and it barely had any bullet drop, so hitting shots was pretty easy as well. However, now that both of these weapons are in the vault, there really aren't any great options when it comes to snipers. The only one available in the game right now is the Bolt, and it's not like that's terrible or anything because it is an iconic weapon, but it's also nothing special. It only has a base damage of 105 to 115 per shot, so to consistently one-shot people, you're gonna need to hit headshots, and also the reload time and bullet drop is pretty bad on the Bolt in general. So I'm sure that some people will still carry around a sniper because it just fits their playstyle really well, but that loadout is much less effective this season than it has been in the past. And the final loadout build I want to cover in this video is one that's really popular and competitive so far, AR shotgun double healing crash pads, and of course you could always substitute in an SMG for one of the healing spots if you're more comfortable with that. I've talked in 1 or 2 previous videos about how good and versatile crash pads are, especially in comp. You can use them to phase into boxes, to rotate in endgame circles, to disengage from fights, or even as a way to take no fall damage if you have to get off high ground. And just like with boogie bombs, since they're blue rarity, it shouldn't be that difficult to get a nice stack of them. But I think crash pads are even more powerful in Season 4 because the amount of in-fight mobility in the game was severely decreased. Launch pads were vaulted, as well as both the Mythic Grappler and Shockwave Launcher, and all 3 of those things were basically free rotations or disengages from a fight, and now that they're gone, it seems like crash pads are really your only option to fit that role now. So I think you're going to be seeing pros using inventory spots on items like boogie bombs and crash pads way more than they did in the past. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down the comment section below. So far in Season 4, what is your personal favorite loadout if you could have whatever weapons/items you wanted? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.